Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Smith, let me just begin with you. In 2001, when President Bush came to office, the National Park Service had a backlog of roughly $4.9 billion, and from our research, that backlog appears to have increased by about $2 billion throughout his presidency and about the same throughout Obama's administration. So the question is why? Why the backlog? Would you attribute it for the maintenance primarily to the Park Service increasing its assets and public lands, monuments, that you have a bigger footprint now, or is it due to the aging process, or some other reason, or all of the above?
It's Congressman, it's basically both of those. When you have a system that's aging like ours, and the fact that Congress keeps adding to our system, those are all factors that either affect operational budgets, which affect cyclic maintenance, or they affect deferred maintenance in these units when you have as many assets as we have to deal with. Okay,
so as I understand, you've got well, a general rule of thumb, I think for most homeowners and so forth, is about 1.5% of the value of the home to be set aside for annual maintenance and that type of thing. Of course, the older it gets, the more. That goes up anywhere from 3 to 5%. Are you somewhere, as I understand, you're close to that range? Do you have enough now to take care of the backlog issues?
No, we certainly do not at this time. That's why we're here looking at other possibilities of funding to reach back and take care of that deferred maintenance.
What percentage of the overall infrastructure portfolio, what percentage is needed based on the value of the assets? Do you have any idea?
We're somewhere between 40 and 45% of our assets that are in deferred maintenance right now, and with others catching up to that. And we touched on, in one of the questions today, the difference in cyclic maintenance and deferred maintenance. Perfect example, or simple example would be, we've done cyclic maintenance on a huge HVAC system. It eventually will have a life cycle, and then it'll have to be replaced. So it moves from where you can deal with it in cyclic maintenance, you have to deal with it by replacing it, and that becomes a deferred maintenance issue.
All right, so tell me again what that 40 to 45% is.
Well, a huge half of it's roads, bridges, things to do with our transportation systems. I think our latest number on that is $5.9 billion of the $11.6 billion is dealing with roads and bridges. The other would be dealing with our assets, which would include buildings, campgrounds, trails, all of the above that we would deal with.
That 45% though would be 45% of the total assets.
Yes.
That are in backlog.
Yes, and especially those that are aging. For those of you who cross Memorial Bridge every day, if you come from Virginia, that's a 75-year-old bridge, and it needs to be replaced.
All right, assuming that we arrive at some sort of solution, how do you assure this committee and the American people that we don't get in this mess again?
There will always be some deferred maintenance because of all the assets that we have. But certainly once we're on top of it, it'll help us prioritize much more those things that are aging, or those things that we need to take care of. But it'll never be a zero as far as deferred maintenance, just because we have so many assets that annually go into needing some type of.
Well, I understand there's always things that, but how can you assure us that we're not going to get in another situation where we got 45% backlog of maintenance issues?
Well, I can assure you that if we can find steady funding sources, we will tackle this issue, which has been around since the 1980s and which we've not caught up to. One reason why we have so many more exact numbers on what the backlog is during the Bush administration, we developed the process that we now use to ascertain all these numbers. And so the issue probably was bigger than we knew back then. We now have a system of looking at these assets that really gives us these numbers that we brought before Congress that need to be addressed.
Okay, thank you very much. I yield that.